Good morning friends, welcome to Raj Malhotra IAS. So guys, here we are about to start. जल्दी से हम लोग इस सेशन को शुरू करेंगे and I will be providing the PDF for today's session. Just give me a minute. The PDF for today's session has been uploaded on our Telegram group. You can download the PDF from there. Chali. So let's start the session. Sufficient number of people have already joined us. Okay, let's see what exactly is there for us in today's newspaper. देखते हैं कि आज के अखबार में हमारे लिए क्या खास है. Before that, let's look into this particular statement made by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Okay, so friends, I would like to tell you this thing, that this particular statement UPSC did ask in your mains 2019. In your mains 2019, UPSC asked this particular question. So this statement was there. Now first we will decode what this statement wants to say. Okay. Before that, let me tell you one thing. If you are connected with us from last 2 days, you must have known this fact that day before yesterday I covered one aspect, that how human values are at the core of other values. Okay, so here you have human values are at the base. Now this is how the system works. So we are an individual human being hai hum, and we have our family. Okay, when multiple families are there, they are going to make a society, and society in the collective sense, they will come out and make a nation. ओके, एक नेशन बनाते हैं. And when multiple nations are there, then you have a global equation. Okay, or you can say international relations, or international how the system works. Now in this particular statement made by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, look what he's saying. He's saying that where there is righteousness in the heart, there is beauty in character. Where there is beauty in character, there is harmony in the home. Where there is harmony in the home, there is order in the nation. Where there is order in the nation, there is peace in the world. This is the message that you have to understand. That at the end of the day, there will be an individual. There will be an individual who will be staying. So this is the aspect that should be known to you. ये मालूम होना चाहिए आपको. So when it is saying that how single human being is important, because if yourself as an individual, if you are right, if you are not following the unethical path, if you are following the ethical path, okay, and every individual on this planet is following the ethical way, ethical path, then definitely there will be peace in this whole world. Righteousness in the heart means that you are not bounded by the selfishness. Okay, आप selfish नहीं हो, आप selfish नहीं हो, and you are ready to help others. That's the point here. This is what the righteous heart will do. Righteous heart will not just care about itself. Righteous heart will also listen to what others are aspiring. That's the beauty here. And when each and every individual is satisfied in their own way, definitely we can have peace in the world, because your whole society will be at a blissful state. पूरी की पूरी society आपकी blissful हो जाती है. That's the point here. So this is what you have to understand, that behind all these collective values that are there, the individual single human value is also important. Every individual counts. Every individual counts. We cannot say that individually we are not going to do anything and collectively we will be able to achieve. No, it is not like that. So you have to work upon every individual, and this is what I say, that through the education system we can bring that righteousness. Okay, so again I would like to quote Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam only. APJ Abdul Kalam said that if you want Divya, or you can say if you want ethical citizenry, if you want ethical citizenry, he said that the three roles are important. Okay, one is of your family, three people are important. One is your family members, primarily your parents, वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होते हैं. Then next is your teacher. Your teacher is also very important. So apart from mother, father, teacher is also very important in our life. So in this way, if we are having this arrangement, then definitely we can create the ethical being and the ethical society. This is the message that Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam has given, that at the end of the day you have to work upon every individual, then only we will be able to make this world a livable place. जहाँ शांति नहीं होगी वहाँ पे कोई रह नहीं पाएगा. That's the point here. So here you have Ukraine Russia war going on. Okay, Russia Ukraine war that is going on. Can we say that the major, you can say, reason for this war is also the selfishness? ओके, क्या हम बोल सकते हैं कि सेल्फिशनेस इसके पीछे का एक रीजन है? दैट्स द पॉइंट हियर. दैट्स द पॉइंट हियर. So this is what you have to understand. This is what you have to understand. If the nation is at peace domestically, it will be a flag bearer of peace internationally as well. बिल्कुल ऐसा होगा, बिल्कुल ऐसा होगा. And that's the important point here. That's the important point here. Okay. So this is what Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam has said. Now let's shift to the major, you can say, newspaper section. So here we have the front news, which is saying Yasin Malik gets life term for terror funding. Okay. See, there are few things that are really important. One thing is that if you want to fight against terrorism, अगर आप टेररिज्म के अगेंस्ट फाइट करना चाहते हो, देन आई एम सेइंग दिस थिंग टू दैट विदाउट, यू कैन से, stopping the funding, without stopping the funding you cannot fight against terrorism. कि फंडिंग को रोके बिना आपकी फाइट वो बिल्कुल बर्बाद है. ओके, and this is also one of the reason that multiple countries, they also talk about that we need to, you know, close the tap in the sense जो पैसे की टैप बहाई जाती है. So वो important है हमारे लिए. So Yasin Malik, he is a Kashmiri separatist leader. Okay, he has this history. So he is a Kashmiri separatist leader, and earlier he was indulged in some of the terrorist act as well. Okay, but later बीच में इनको सेट किया गया, and this is how things are done. So now he is a political entity, separatist leader है और political entity है वहाँ पे. Okay, and he has a support base as well. Support भी हो रहा है इनका, ठीक है ना. So this development has taken place, and he has been given the life imprisonment for terror funding. Now this is really important in the sense because here the discourse in Kashmir is divided. Different political parties, they are saying that this is not right, ये चीज सही नहीं की गई है. Right in the sense that people may get angry and they may start the violence activity. वो बिल्कुल एंग्री हो जाएंगे और वायलेंस करेंगे, एंड दिस इज व्हाट दे आर डूइंग फ्रॉम लास्ट वन डे. द इंटरनेट इज शट इन द कश्मीर वैली. तो ये सारी सिचुएशन बनी हुई है वहाँ पे. ओके, सो दिस इज व्हाट यू शुड नो. दिस इज व्हाट यू शुड नो. नाउ देयर इज अनदर इंपॉर्टेंट न्यूज दैट इज देयर, दैट गनमैन किल्स 19 children at the US school. See, like even the president Biden has said that we have to do something regarding this. Okay, so a gunman randomly comes and killing 19 children, like this is not acceptable. Like US has this law that they can carry guns. Carrying gun is allowed for your security, for your safety purpose. Gun use करना वहाँ पे allowed है. Okay, so in India, if you want to keep a gun license, it is very difficult. Here it is difficult, but there it is very easy. So this is how like situation is right now. Now you have to understand this particular person, this particular gunman, he might have some psychological issues. He might be having some psychological issues. So without addressing those problems which are there in the society, US cannot fight this particular problem. जरूर यहाँ पे और भी बहुत कुछ करना पड़ेगा. So just by making things strict is not going to work. There are a lot of other things that are to be done, counselings and all, those things have also to be explored. वो चीजें भी यहाँ पे explore करनी पड़ेंगी. Okay, so we'll move to the next part in the next component. Okay, so today we are going to discuss one interview which was published in this newspaper. Okay, so एक newspaper के अंदर एक interview publish हुआ है, this one. So Palestine issue doesn't diminish India-Israel relations. Okay, so here the Consul General of Israel, she is in India, she was interacting, she was answering some of the questions that were asked. Okay, so here she said that like Palestine issue is separate in the sense it is in line with India's policy as well. So if you look into the stance that India has taken, it is said that India has dehyphenated the Israel-Palestine policy. India has dehyphenated the Israel-Palestine policy. Okay, what exactly does this mean? Now here you need to understand, just have a look over this map. So this is the map of Israel. Now I would like to tell you territories which are there with the Palestinian people. Okay, so here this territory, as you see, West Bank, this is the Palestinian territory and the Gaza Strip. Rest all is Israel. Now we have seen this multiple times where Israeli forces, they are entering the Palestinian territory and occupying some area. ये चलता रहता है वहाँ पे, ठीक है ना? This is how they operate. But if you look into the history, the problem majorly started in 1917 with the Balfour Agreement. Okay, this Balfour Declaration was made. Now what was this declaration about? See, Jewish population which were living in this particular area in the Israel, they were thrown out. Okay, they were thrown out of their land due to the Arab invasion. Now this Arab invasion, it took place say way back in 8th century, 9th century. So in 8th century, 9th century, this Arab invasion took place and the Jewish population who were living in this particular area, they were thrown out of their land. Now later on in 1917, Britain, as this was again a British territory. So ये जो आप पैलेस्टीन की टेरिटरी देख रहे हो, it was a British territory. So Britain made the declaration, Balfour Declaration, saying that we will provide a separate land for the Jewish people. कि हम जो Jewish लोग हैं उनके लिए land provide करेंगे, and this declaration was made and this land was allotted to them. Now what happened, like in this particular area, there was a major migration that took place. Okay, so initially Jewish population which were offered this land, they were in minorities. यहाँ पे Palestinian Arab population रहती थी and Jewish were in minority. But this is what happened. Due to this migration from the cross world, and we know what Hitler did to the Jewish population, the Holocaust. Okay, so in your World War II, there was a major Holocaust that was carried out, and after that, the Jewish population from the whole world, they started migrating to Israel. And they thought that this is their land and they started coming over there, and this is how later the Palestinian Arab living in that area, they become minority. And since then this crisis is existing. Rest of the Arab world around the Israel, they don't like Israel at all. They consider Israel as a hegemon power, a dominant power supported by United States. Okay, so this is how the whole situation is existing. And over the years, what has happened? The Palestine, which was that big, it has been confined only to the two areas, West Bank and the Gaza Strip. And from this area, specifically the Gaza Strip, okay, they carry out attack in the mainland Israel. तो यहां से वो रेगुलरली इसराइल के ऊपर हमले करते रहते हैं. This is what the whole issue is about. Now, is there any solution to this problem? Yes, there is any solution. Because United Nation General Assembly resolution says that we need to have two separate countries in this particular area. Israel and Palestine, they have to live together as separate countries. Right now, they are not living like that because Palestine is not recognized as a country by many other powers. पैलेस्टीन को एज अ कंट्री नहीं रिकॉग्नाइज किया जाता. So this is what the whole issue is prevailing. This is what the whole issue is prevailing. And here the Council Journal is saying that this is separate from India-Palestine ties. Why this statement was made? Because you have to look into India's stand. So earlier we says that Palestinians, okay, this is the moral obligation that we have. भाई पैलेस्टीनियंस का भी पूरा हक है वहां पे रहने का. नाउ व्हाट इज द सिचुएशन? पैलेस्टीनियंस इन दैट पार्ट दे आर ट्रीटेड एज सेकंड ग्रेड सिटीजन. दे आर ट्रीटेड एज सेकंड ग्रेड सिटीजन. दैट्स द पॉइंट हियर. दैट्स द पॉइंट हियर. सो ये भी समझना जरूरी है, ठीक है ना, ये भी समझना जरूरी है. ओके, नाउ दिस सॉर्ट ऑफ अरेंजमेंट is existing, and definitely if you go by the morality we need to support the Palestinians to some extent. okay, कुछ उनको सपोर्ट करना हमारे लिए जरूरी है, ठीक है ना. अब ये सिचुएशन यहाँ पे इस तरीके से एग्जिस्ट करती है, बट काउंटर टू दैट Israel itself is very important for us. Israel हमारे लिए क्यों important है? Because we are getting technology from Israel, we are getting weapons from Israel. okay, so we cannot make Israel angry. That's why we have proposed this idea of dehyphenating the Israel-Palestine policy. The dehyphenation means for us, Israel is a separate country and Palestine is a separate entity. ये हमारे लिए अलग एंटिटी है, Israel हमारे लिए अलग एंटिटी है. Whatever relation that we are going to have with Israel will have no impact on Palestine. Whatever relation India is going to have with Palestine will have no impact on Israel-India relationship. This is the arrangement that we have made. And this is the arrangement that we have made, and this is the significant arrangement. Because if you look into the history, okay, if you look into the history has been like this, that India didn't have diplomatic relation with Israel. So diplomatic relations were established after 1991, specifically in 1992. 91 के बाद 92 में हमने diplomatic relations इजराइल के साथ बनाए थे. Before that we were not having diplomatic relations. So this is what you have to understand. So that's why if this statement is being made that Palestine issue doesn't diminish India-Israel relations, so it is absolutely right. Because we still support the cause of Palestinians, we still support that Palestinians, they do have some right. Because regularly what Israeli forces do, they go in the Palestinian territory and they do some violent act against the Palestinians. We have seen it multiple times. Protests by the Palestinians are not allowed and all those things. So this is how the system is working in that particular area. And again, it is also the problem created by the British, okay, like India, Pakistan. तो ये समस्या भी as it is चलती आ रही है. So we'll move to the next part. Now, driving the Balkanization of India. Okay, so we are going to look into this. So this particular editorial basically points towards the policy that is being followed. Now we know this particular fact, the radicalization in across the world it is increasing. okay, यहाँ पे radicalization जो है वो काफी increase हो रहा है. And if you look into the social dynamics of India, so you have majority population that is Hindu in India. okay, so even they are being radicalized. even they are being radicalized. And definitely when you have this type of arrangement, the minorities, they will feel uncomfortable, they will feel uncomfortable. Okay, and we can point out towards this particular thing why the radicalization is increasing. Look at the debate that we are carrying out. So you have multiple debates. So here we have today we have Gyanvi Mosque issue that is being raised. Okay, so Gyanvi Mosque ka issue aa gaya, and people are demanding that prayers should be allowed in that area, and there was shivling and all. So basic idea is that the emphasis is on changing the nature of the shrine. Okay, changing the nature of the shrine. Now this particular shrine is mosque. इसको मंदिर नहीं बनाया जा सकता अभी. We have to be practical about it. Okay, already there is a legal arrangement that exists. Places of Worship Act. So this Places of Worship Act says that you cannot change the nature of a shrine as it is existing since 1947. So whatever is the nature of a shrine, to whatever religion it belongs to, as it is there in 1947, we have to maintain that. Change nahi karna aapko. But here it is appearing that we are moving in that direction and petitions are filed to make things change. Okay, so if you talk about idea of India, now idea of India, like there are multiple debates. So there are some individuals which are say that India was not a nation. Okay, we India जो है एक nation था ही नहीं, and India was, and presently India is nation in making. So this is what people say. Okay, एक ये point of view है that earlier before British, so India was not a united entity and it was a separate entity, and today they are working in that direction to come out as a single entity. So Winston Churchill here, okay, Winston Churchill, he claimed that India was no more than a geography, that people are not connected with each other, it is just a geographical entity, okay, country that has just boundaries. And this is what they claim that the British had helped to brought India as a united entity. भाई हमें जोड़ने का काम जो है वो ब्रिटिश ने किया है. This is what they used to claim. This is what they used to claim. What is happening today? There are some forces that are active and they are somehow damaging the unity of this country. I am saying this, unity of this country will definitely be impacted, as I told you this thing. If you want to impose the thought process of majority, कि majority का thought process impose करोगे, then minority will not be happy with that. And there it is going to weaken the unity of this country. That's the significant point here. So we have this issue that is going on, the Gyanvi issue, okay, that this mosque is related in Varanasi. The petition has been filed to allow the Hindus to do worship in that part. So this is what people are claiming. We do understand that there are incontrovertible evidence that says that this mosque was once a temple and it was demolished by Aurangzeb. ये बिल्कुल ऐसा किया गया था. But where you are going to end? Where you are going to end? ठीक है ना? आप कहां जाके रुक सकते हो? आप कहां जाके रुक सकते हो? That's the point you have to understand. So you have this Places of Worship Act 1991 that disallows a change of status of religious structure. It disallows the change of status of religious structure. This is very significant. So Anusri is asking this point that, sir, this is just an act passed by the parliament. Then can it be amended? क्या ये amend किया जा सकता है? बिल्कुल amend किया जा सकता है. Okay, can it be amended? But that amendment should be in line with the principle of secularism, which is a basic structure, which is part of a basic structure of Indian Constitution. तो इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के अंदर ये डिक्लेयर है कि भाई सेक्युलरिज्म इज अ पार्ट ऑफ बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर, एंड मल्टीपल कोर्ट्स हैव सेड दिस. अब सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने बोला है यहाँ पे. इफ यू पिक द अयोध्या जजमेंट, अगर आप अयोध्या जजमेंट को उठा के देखोगे, इट वॉज अ 5 judge bench. Okay, 5 judge bench था. It said that this particular act is sacrosanct and important for the secular character of this country. उस judgment में ये बोला कि ये act important है. Now there is another significant development, as you have said. Now it was a 5 judge bench. If there is some alteration that is carried out by the Indian Parliament, वो ऑल्टरेशन उस जजमेंट के अकॉर्डिंग होना चाहिए, बिकॉज दिस इज हाउ सुप्रीम कोर्ट हैज इंटरप्रेटेड दैट जजमेंट, दैट पर्टिकुलर लॉ. So this is the another point you have to understand. This is the other point you have to understand. Now Supreme Court has come out with the judgment. एक interpretation आ गया है Supreme Court की तरफ से. You cannot deviate from that, because again the matter will be raised in the court and the court can declare it to be unconstitutional if it is found to be against the principle of secularism. अगर आप कुछ भी ऐसा करोगे तो वो secularism वाली debate आ जाएगी. Already we know that the Citizenship Amendment Act, okay, it is also with the court is deciding on this कि वो secularism के according है कि नहीं है, उस पर भी decision अभी लेना है. So this is the point that you have to understand. ये सारी चीजें आपको यहाँ पे समझनी पड़ेंगी. Now question is this: if you are allowing prayer by Hindus in this particular site, आप allow कर देते हो, then what about this particular act? इस law का क्या हो जाएगा? क्या सिर्फ legal terms में हम बात करने वाले हैं यहाँ पे? I am saying that what about the idea of India? Because if you are doing that, it will portray a message, it will send a message that now in India only the majority thought process will prevail. The majoritarianism is going to prevail. And this is not democratic at all. अगर आप minority के rights की रक्षा नहीं कर सकते तो आप उसे democratic नहीं बोल सकते. Another point is that okay, today you are imposing the religious majoritarianism. आप अपना religious thought impose कर रहे हो. Tomorrow the states will consider this thing that they will also impose their dominant language, and this may not go well with the states. ऐसा भी तो हो सकता है. So if your government has decided to only impose the majoritarian ideas, definitely the states will not like it, because they will say that today they are imposing the religion, tomorrow they might impose the language. Hindi impose कर देंगे हमारे ऊपर. This is how things are. So whatever it is appearing, it is not that simplistic. इतना simple नहीं है, बहुत complex चीजें हैं जो चल रही हैं यहाँ पे. Okay, so this is what the whole idea is. Definitely we are a diverse country. हमारे यहाँ पे इतने सारे colors हैं, ठीक है ना? So we are a diverse country and that diversity should be maintained. वो diversity हमें celebrate करनी चाहिए. We should not work to, you can say, color everyone with the same, you can say paint everyone with the same brush. हर किसी को same brush के साथ same रंग के अंदर रंगना ठीक नहीं है. Okay, the beauty of a nation is the diversity and we have to maintain that. That's the beautiful message this editorial is giving. So this is the important point. This is the important point. So now we'll move to the next part. So here we have this news. They are saying that India must shift the discourse on abortion rights. Okay, so whenever you talk about abortion, there are multiple views that are there. One thing is about right of women, okay, her sexual autonomy, ये इससे भी related है. Her reproductive, you can say autonomy, reproductive autonomy से भी एक तरीके से ये related है. Okay, so women should have the right over her body. She should take the decision whether to abort or not. पहली चीज तो ये है. Other is about right of that unborn child. That something which is natural, how are you going to, you can say, remove that natural act? And what about the consultation with that unborn child? क्या किसी ने उससे पूछा कि आपको मार दिया जाएगा abortion करके? So this is how the debate is. This is what the debate is. Definitely there are supporters which will say that okay, abortion should be allowed, and there are supporters who will say that abortion should not be allowed. The whole issue has emerged because there is something going on in United States. Okay, so this major, you can say, debate is taking place in US. So उसी से ही यहाँ पे चीजें निकल के आ रही हैं, and India as well, they are coming out with this debate. So there are some factual things that are there, and those facts are important, okay, because this abortion issue is also linked with the health of the woman. ओके, तो वुमेन की हेल्थ से ये रिलेटेड है, एंड दैट्स वाई द क्वेश्चन कैन बी फ्रेम्ड इन योर जीएस पेपर। ओके, जीएस पेपर 3 के अंदर सवाल जो है वो बनाया जा सकता है। So we should be knowing about this particular fact. There are some factual things, there are some findings regarding the abortion, and those things are important for us. So they are saying that it is not just a family planning or maternal health issue, but also a sexual health and reproductive rights issue. So abortion करना सिर्फ family planning के लिए नहीं होता है, there are other things associated with that. Now they are saying that our public health journey started with witnessing maternal deaths in India. Now it is linked with the maternal deaths as well, and this is really very alarming. Okay, alarming in the sense that we know that if illegal abortion is carried out, अगर कोई illegal चीज हो रही है, then the chances of infection also increases, because the illegal abortion will not be carried out by the expert. वो randomly कोई भी झोला छाप डॉक्टर से abortion करवा लेते हैं, and there are examples where women undergoing abortion, they have been facing infection or sepsis हुआ है उनको, infection हुआ है उनको, and this is how it was a life threatening thing. So there are some factual things which are important. So according to the World Health Organization, 6 out of 10 of all unintended pregnancies end in an induced abortion. Okay, 6 out of 10 unintended pregnancies के केस में abortion होता है. Around 45% of all abortion are unsafe, almost all of which 97% are taking place in developing countries. So if you talk about the unsafe abortion, majority of them are taking place in developing countries. That's the point. As per the nationally representative study published in this journal, abortion count for 10% of the maternal deaths in India. Now this is really alarming. जो 10% maternal deaths होती हैं इंडिया के अंदर, वो abortion की वजह से होती हैं. Okay, so they are saying that 3% of all pregnancies in India result in abortion. 3% pregnancies जो है abortion में जा रही हैं, and more than half, 53% of abortion in India are performed in the private sector, whereas only 20% are performed in public sector. Okay, primarily because public facilities often lack abortion services. This is how things are, and when like people are not being supported by the public infrastructure, so the chances of going to an illegal doctor also increases. तो ये सारी समस्याएं यहाँ पे आती हैं, that you are not giving them the adequate choices. तो हमें adequate choices देनी ही देनी है यहाँ पे, वो बहुत ज़रूरी है, ठीक है ना. So 73% of all abortions that are taking place are illegal as per this particular act. So you have this MTP Act which says that you have to consult an expert. भाई अब आपको abortion कराने से पहले डॉक्टर से परमिशन लेनी पड़ेगी, but people don't go for that. Okay, so that's why it is said that they are not going for the permission by a doctor, so it is illegal. 73% के around आपके abortion ऐसे होते हैं, and doctors are not even participating in that activity. So this is what the major problem is. Now another recent study has been found which talks about sex selective abortion in India. So sex selective abortion in India, it leads to nearly 6.8 million fewer girls. 68 lakh girls नहीं देख पाती हैं ये दुनिया, and the statistics that they are coming out is for say 13 years. इतनी बुरी हालत है यहाँ पे, ठीक है ना. This is how things are anticipated. Sex selection based abortions are also carried out here. So this particular act, that is Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act, like it brings some conditions that are important. Okay, so we have tried to regulate abortion. हमने इसको बिल्कुल भी बैन नहीं किया है. We have tried to regulate abortion and this is really good. आप कोशिश कर रहे हो अपनी तरफ से उसे regulate करने की, because banning is not solution, regulation is the solution. So they are saying that lack of choice, bodily autonomy of women, these things are there. You have to provide them with some choices, you have to provide them with some autonomy. ये भी आपको करना पड़ेगा, ठीक है ना. सो ये सारी चीजें हैं. एंड लाइक अबॉर्शन डिसीजन solely डिपेंड्स अपॉन द डॉक्टर्स ओपिनियन. व्हाट अबाउट वुमेन्स राइट? अगर डॉक्टर के ओपिनियन से ही अबॉर्शन होना है तो आप वुमेन से क्यों पूछ रहे हो? ओके, so this is also important that women should have some right autonomy over the decision making. And MTP Act only mentions the pregnant woman, failing to recognize that transgender person and others who do not identify as women can become pregnant. This is how it is. And but they are only recognizing pregnancy by women. What about others which are there? So people here, they might not be aware about the fact that abortion is legal. That's why they might be going for underground झोला छाप डॉक्टर्स. हमारे यहाँ पे तो लीगल है, ठीक है ना, आपको सिर्फ डॉक्टर से कंसल्ट करना है. दैट्स द पॉइंट हियर. This MTP Act does not recognize abortion as a choice. They need the approval of medical professional even in the few weeks of pregnancy. Along with that, unmarried and transgender people, they continue to face stigma. इसलिए भी लोग छुपते छुपाते अबॉर्शन करते हैं. ओके, सो मैंडेटरी रिपोर्टिंग रिक्वायर्ड अंडर पॉक्सो एक्ट अगेंस्ट द चाइल्ड सेक्सुअल ऑफेंस impact the privacy and hinder the access of adolescent to safe abortion services. So you have these legal arrangement which talks about that अब आपको डिक्लेयर करना पड़ेगा कि आपकी इलीगल प्रेगनेंसी हो गई है. ओके, सो अनमैरिड कपल्स तो वैसे भी नहीं जाएंगे इन चीजों के पीछे. So all these problems are existing, all these programs are existing, and definitely like here the problem is that we just bring morality into this. Okay, so we don't talk about the health of the woman. आप सिर्फ morality के बेस पे चीज़ों को implement करने का सोचते हो. That's why these things have to be improved. ये सारी चीज़ें हमें improve करनी है. You talk about like sex determination based abortion. You have to stop the sex determination first. आपके पास वो law available है. आपके पास वो law available है. Okay, so this is the important point here. This is the important point here. ये चीज समझनी जरूरी है, ठीक है ना, ये चीज समझनी जरूरी है. ओके, so we'll move to the next part now. Next editorial talks about be wary of growing exports. Okay, so they are saying that like what India is doing, India wants to become an export based economy. Okay, but it will be at a cost. Cost in the sense, देखो क्या होगा. So suppose if you are manufacturing anything, okay, so pollution will be caused in your country. Pollution तो इंडिया में होगा, and the product will be sold in say Europe or America, and this is what is happening. So what is happening is this, that whatever pollution based industries that are existing, these developed nations, they are moving those industries to the developing countries. Okay, and in developing countries the implementation of the norms are also very weak. अगर आप implementation की बात करते हो, so implementation of norms are quite weak in the developing countries. Okay, and as they are quite weak, so pollution भी ज़्यादा होता है. But this is the tendency that is followed, that developed nation, instead of say completely removing the bad technology, what they will do, they will shift the manufacturing base. So this is how it is, and that's why they are saying that we should be wary of growing exports. So otherwise what will end up, Indian people will be paying the price for that pollution. तो अगर सपोज अगर कोई प्रोडक्शन यूनिट है जहां से गंदा धुआं निकल रहा है, इंडियंस की हेल्थ खराब होगी. आपने प्रोडक्ट को एक्सपोर्ट कर दिया यूएस में, यूरोप के अंदर. ओके, दिस इज हाउ इट इज. एंड दे आर टॉकिंग अबाउट दिस थिंग दैट ग्रोइंग कंजम्पशन इन रिच कंट्रीज हैज कम एट अ कॉस्ट फॉर डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज सच एज इंडिया. उनका कंजम्पशन इंक्रीज हो रहा है, बर्डन हमारे ऊपर पड़ रहा है, ठीक है ना. एंड वी हैव दिस यूनाइटेड नेशन conference in Copenhagen which talks about this thing, that even the developed countries, okay, which are consuming the polluted goods, they also have the obligation to clean up the mess. जहां पे मैन्युफैक्चरिंग यूनिट्स है सिर्फ वहीं के लोगों को काम नहीं करना. इवन द डेवलप्ड नेशंस, बिकॉज दे आर द कंज्यूमर्स, so even they have to contribute towards this. That's the point here. And it is also said that India is one of the leading exporters of carbon emissions. ओके बिल्कुल हम कर रहे हैं क्योंकि हमारे यहाँ पे प्रोडक्शन मैन्युफैक्चरिंग हो रही है जहाँ पे कार्बन एमिट हो रहा है एंड वी आर एक्सपोर्टिंग इट एज सिंपल एज दैट. So China is the largest exporter of carbon emission embodied products. Okay, India's total carbon emission export increased from 80 million tons in 1995 to 426 million tons in 2018. इतना ज़्यादा इंक्रीज आया है एक्सपोर्ट के अंदर. दिस इज द शार्प इंक्रीज दैट वी हैव सीन एंड दिस इज हाउ वी आर इवन क्लोजर टू द यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स. अब हुआ क्या, इन द सेम टाइम द यूएस एक्सपोर्ट ऑफ पोल्यूटेड प्रोडक्ट्स, ओके, इट हैज रिमेन्ड स्टैग्नेंट. तो उन्होंने अपने आप को स्टैग्नेंट कर लिया और इंडिया जैसे कंट्रीज के यहाँ पे अपना प्रोडक्शन यूनिट शिफ्ट कर दिया. This is how they work. This is how they operate. And if you talk about some of the exports that are there, so you have petroleum products, electronics, chemicals. हम ये चीजें एक्सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं और इन तीनों में पॉल्यूशन होता है, ठीक है ना. एंड देयर इज अ टेंडेंसी टू रीलोकेट फ्रॉम डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज टू डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज. रीजन क्या है? बिकॉज इन डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज द एनवायरमेंटल स्टैंडर्ड्स एंड देयर एनफोर्समेंट्स आर वीक. एंड दिस लेड टू द पोल्यूशन हेवन हाइपोथेसिस कि भाई पोल्यूशन तो डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज में करो एंड दोज डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज दे विल बिकम अ पोल्यूशन हेवन. जैसे टैक्स हेवन होता है जहां पे टैक्सेशन के लॉज वीक होते हैं या टैक्स इवेजन आसान होता है. सो हियर इन इंडिया, इन कंट्री लाइक इंडिया विच इज वर्किंग एज अ पोल्यूशन हेवन, द बाईपासिंग ऑफ लॉ इज इजी. सिर्फ रिश्वत देनी है, काम बन जाएगा, ठीक है ना. दिस इज हाउ द सिस्टम वर्क्स हियर. सो वन कुड argue this point that GDP increase हो रहा है but it is at a cost. उसकी एक कीमत है and this is what people are saying. They have this idea that okay, if the pollution is increasing, अगर pollution increase होगा definitely they will earn money. आपकी इकोनॉमी भी उससे थोड़ी तो ऊपर जाएगी. Okay, so that money, that economic gain that you are going to make, that money can be spent to further reduce the pollution. So ये idea exist करता है आज की डेट में, ठीक है ना. This idea is existing. So they are saying that this Kuznets curve, which is inverted U-shape relationship between income of a country and its environmental degradation. So they said that up to a limit we will cause damage to our environment and after that we will रिड्यूस इट. उसके बाद हम उसे रिड्यूस कर देंगे, ऐसा सोचते हैं लोग. बट इट इज नॉट इजी बिकॉज देर आर सम इरिवर्सिबल डैमेजेस. कुछ डैमेज तो इरिवर्सिबल हैं. व्हाट अबाउट दोज? उनका क्या करोगे, ठीक है ना. उनका क्या करोगे ये सोचना जरूरी है. सो दिस इंप्लाइज दैट इनकम इंक्रीजेस, एनवायरमेंटल क्वालिटी बिगिंस टू डिटीरियोरेट बट इंप्रूव्स आफ्टर सम टाइम. भाई वो सम टाइम कब आएगा, कोई आइडिया नहीं है. दिस इज हाउ थिंग्स आर. So you have to look into things in long terms. There are irreversible damages that are there. We should not allow this type of arrangement. ये चीज आपको बिल्कुल भी allow नहीं करनी चाहिए. So we'll move to the next part. This is the explainer which is talking about understanding the nature of US-Taiwan relations. Okay. So first of all you need to understand, you need to look into the history of Taiwan. कि भी ताइवान और चाइना का क्या खेल है. क्यों चाइना कहता है कि हमें एक तरीके से ताइवान के ऊपर कब्जा करना है, ठीक है ना. सो दिस इज द हिस्टोरिकल पार्ट दैट यू शुड नो. एंड रिसेंट कंट्रोवर्सी स्टार्टेड विद द स्टेटमेंट और द क्लैरिफिकेशन मेड बाय द यूएस प्रेसिडेंट. ही हैड क्लैरिफाइड दिस थिंग दैट इफ चाइना ट्राइड टू ऑक्यूपाई ताइवान मिलिटरीली, कि भाई मिलिटरीली अगर कुछ किया गया देन यूएस विल इंटरवीन. एंड दिस इज द सिग्निफिकेंट डेवलपमेंट. Why people are considering that China may attack Taiwan? क्यों लोगों को लग रहा है कि चाइना अटैक करेगा ताइवान के ऊपर, स्पेसिफिकली आफ्टर द यू कैन से रशिया इन्वेजन ऑफ यूक्रेन. क्यों लग रहा है? आपको एक चीज समझनी पड़ेगी. इफ यू लुक इनटू द स्टेटस ऑफ ताइवान, ताइवान इज नॉट रिकॉग्नाइज्ड एज अ कंट्री by many other powers. Taiwan is not recognized as country by many other powers. This is what you have to understand. Even India, we don't have फुल डिप्लोमेटिक रिलेशंस विद देम, हमारे ताइवान के साथ फुल डिप्लोमेटिक रिलेशंस नहीं हैं. दैट्स द पॉइंट हियर. काउंटर टू दैट, यूक्रेन वॉज अ सॉवरन कंट्री. यूक्रेन एक सॉवरन नेशन था, एक रिकॉग्नाइज्ड कंट्री था पूरे वर्ल्ड में. सो इफ Ukraine can be attacked, which was recognized by all the players, which was a sovereign nation, ताइवान की तो कोई हैसियत ही नहीं है. So China can attack Taiwan by saying that it is the internal matter of China. China can declare a war by saying that it is the internal matter of China. तो उनके पास तो रीजन भी है. रशिया के पास तो कोई रीजन नहीं था ना, नेटो का तो बहाना बोला था उन्होंने. Okay, so this is the point you have to understand कि कैसे China is very likely and it may carry out the military invasion of Taiwan. So it was important that US come out with the statement that US कितना help करेगा, कितना दूर तक जाके help करेगा. That's the point which is important. Okay, so this development should be known to you. And why Japan and other countries are having the concern? Because Japan, like, they have this concern that Taiwan is critical for their national security as well. If Taiwan is attacked today, then definitely tomorrow attack can be carried out on Japan. बिल्कुल हमला हो सकता है जापान के ऊपर. And Japan is having other dilemma. जापान के अंदर एक और dilemma चल रहा है, and that dilemma is about United States. That okay, US has declared this thing that they will help Taiwan. भाई US military action करेगा. US के military base तो जापान में located है. US के military base जापान में located है. And if US and China, they are indulged in any sort of crisis or war-like situation, it will be the Japanese people who will pay the price. बम तो जापान में गिरेंगे. War तो इस end पे लड़ा जाएगा. If China is going to attack any of the military base of United States, those bases are located in this part. वो तो जापान में located है. So all this equation is existing. That's why even Japanese are thinking that the way China is behaving, it is important for them as well to have some security arrangement. कि कुछ अपनी national security के लिए वो खुद ब खुद करे. So this is what the whole thing is about. Now, what is the story of this Taiwan? So this story should also be known to you, how Taiwan came into existence. Okay, so in 1949, Mao Zedong declared the creation of People's Republic of China. Now what happened before the creation of this People's Republic of China? There were majorly two parties which were existing in China. वो दो पार्टी थी, कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी ऑफ चाइना एंड द नेशनलिस्ट पार्टी, जिसको हम कुमिनटैंग भी बोलते हैं. So the Communist Party, it had the full control over the territory of China, and it declared this to be a Chinese, you can say, the occupancy of communist government, that is a single party government. So the other party, the Kuomintang, their leaders, they moved to Taiwan. वो mainland China से भाग के ताइवान में आ गए. Okay, and over the time that single party, the Kuomintang system, developed into a full-fledged democracy, that is multi-party democracy. तो ताइवान के अंदर तो मल्टी-पार्टी डेमोक्रेसी है. ओके, ताइवान में मल्टी-पार्टी डेमोक्रेसी है. एंड इन चाइना यू हैव सिंगल पार्टी रूल, सिंगल पार्टी है, दैट इज द कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी. सो देयर सिस्टम्स आर कंप्लीटली डिफरेंट. Their systems are completely different. Now you must be thinking that why India is not having a full diplomatic ties with Taiwan. भाई ऐसा क्या हो गया, हमने क्यों नहीं किया? You need to understand one thing. The Chinese are really very smart. Okay, smart in the sense, the main China, that is the Beijing China, they came out with the policy called One China policy. One China policy. They say that any country, if they want to have relations with China, it will be only with Beijing. नहीं तो मत करो हमारे साथ diplomatic relations. Don't do trade with us. Don't have any relations with us. We have this one China policy. that we are not divided, we are not separate, and the mainland Beijing represents the China, not the Taiwan. This is what they come out with. This is the argument that they have given. So yeah, they have this one China policy which is existing and rest of the world is following that. Because China is a powerful country. सबको चाइना से ट्रेड करना है, कोई भी चाइना को नाराज नहीं करना चाहता. This is what the whole system existed. Now, what was so special in the statement made by the Biden? The statement was that it has been observed that US was shifting its policies multiple times, but this time US has clearly defined what it is going to do, and it is really important to send a message. ये message send करना जरूरी है to other parties that don't play with the fire. आग से मत खेलो. This is what US has said. This is what US has said, that okay, we may have to intervene and US will not be fearful of China, और होगा तो लड़ाई लंबी चलेगी. This is what the whole picture is about. Okay, so US recognized China, but it also stated that it also acknowledges that one China is there, but Taiwan is part of it. इसको लेके अभी clarity नहीं है. Okay, so they recognize that as a single unit, and Taiwan also commands some sanctity. कुछ sanctity Taiwan भी command करता है. And that's the point, that after this Russo-Ukraine conflict, clarity should come, because US ने यूक्रेन के केस में कुछ ज्यादा काम नहीं किया. They are supplying weapons and all, but here the requirement may be more. But यहाँ पे जो है ज्यादा चीजें चाहिए होंगी, तो ये बात समझना जरूरी है. Assistance इतना आसान नहीं होगा. That's why US has come out with the idea to clarify what it thinks and what it is going to do. Okay, कि डिप्लोमेटिक रिलेशंस ठीक है, हम वन चाइना की पॉलिसी को सपोर्ट करते हैं, बट इफ देर इज एनी मिलिट्री एक्शन देन डेफिनेटली यूएस विल हैव टू इंटरवीन. तो यूएस को इंटरवीन करना पड़ेगा. दिस इज द होल पिक्चर अबाउट. So another article is about the monkeypox virus, its origin and its outbreak. Okay, so we'll look into some things about it. इसका भी थोड़ा डर फैल रहा है, because like there are some 220 cases which are spread across 19 countries. अब सबको डर लगता है. पहले कोरोना फैला तो it's like everything is a pandemic. Okay, if you look into the news items that are there, so they declare everything to be a fearful thing. इतना fear hysteria पैदा कर दिया है. So monkeypox belongs to the pox virus family. Okay, and it was first identified in monkeys way back in 1958, और अफ्रीका में ही इसको ज़्यादा देखा गया है. See why these zoonotic viruses are entering the human population. So ये zoonotic virus क्यों आ रहे हैं? The reason is very simple, because you need to understand anthropogenic intervention has increased. कि कहीं ना कहीं ह्यूमन बींग्स जो हैं वो इंटरवीन कर रहे हैं नेचर के अंडर. ओके, नेचुरल एनवायरनमेंट में वो इंटरवीन कर रहे हैं. दैट्स द प्रॉब्लमेटिक थिंग, बिकॉज वी आर कटिंग डाउन जंगल्स, वी हैव टू पे द प्राइस. ये नुकसान हमें देखने को मिलेगा ही मिलेगा. नाउ व्हेन यू टॉक अबाउट द monkeypox virus, the existing smallpox vaccine, it gives protection against this monkeypox. जो existing smallpox vaccine है वो हमें protection देती है monkeypox के against. But the point is this vaccine has been discontinued in 1980. भाई smallpox का eradication हो गया, खत्म हो गया smallpox. उसके बाद जो है वैक्सीन स्टोर करना बंद कर दिया कंट्रीज ने. अब किसी काम की नहीं थी वो. ठीक है ना? This is how it is. And when you talk about the transmission in monkeypox, it occurs only in close contacts. ओके, कि सिर्फ क्लोज कॉन्टैक्ट से स्प्रेड होता है. इट इज नॉट लाइक अ कोरोना वायरस. ठीक है ना? सो दैट्स व्हाई इट इज सेड दैट दिस monkeypox इज सेल्फ लिमिटिंग. इसकी इतनी कैपेसिटी नहीं है, लिमिटिंग कैपेसिटी है. दैट्स द पॉइंट हियर. अदर पॉइंट इज this majority of affected people, the incubation period is between 5 to 21 days. Okay, so these facts are important for your prelims. आपके prelims के लिए ये सारे factual information important है कि 5 to 21 days का इसका gestation period होता है. Okay, इज ऑफन माइल्ड एंड सेल्फ लिमिटेड, इतना ज़्यादा नहीं होगा, असिम्टोमेटिक केसेस भी होते हैं. ओके, एंड प्राइमरीली द आउटब्रेक हैज़ बीन रिपोर्टेड इन द सेंट्रल एशिया, वहाँ पे रिपोर्ट हुआ है ये. ओके, monkeys are possibly the only incidental hosts. The reservoir is not known. Basically the thing is that origin of this virus is not known. That monkeys are just carrying it, वो तो सिर्फ host हैं, ठीक है ना. So this is also the problem that should be known. This monkeypox virus is a DNA virus, is a DNA virus. Now please pay attention. Coronavirus is a RNA virus. Okay, so there is a difference between DNA and RNA virus. RNA virus, they have more potency to spread. वो ज़्यादा जल्दी फैलते हैं. DNA वायरस इतना जल्दी फैलते नहीं हैं and they don't mutate. जो म्यूटेशन होता है वो भी बहुत स्लो होता है. Okay, mutation is slow. Now you must have seen कोरोना के कितने वेरिएंट्स आ गए थे, मल्टीपल वेरिएंट्स वर कमिंग आउट एवरी अदर डे. ओके, बट डीएनए वायरसेस के केस में ऐसा नहीं होगा. द म्यूटेशन इज गोइंग टू बी देयर, वी आर नॉट डिनाइंग इट, बट दैट म्यूटेशन इज गोइंग टू बी एट अ स्लोअर पेस. वो म्यूटेशन बहुत ही स्लो पेस पे आगे बढ़ेगी. ऐसा नहीं होगा कि एकदम से ही म्यूटेशन हो रही है, आफ्टर एवरी 15 days देयर इज न्यू वेरिएंट दैट इज कमिंग आउट. वैसा नहीं होता है, स्लो म्यूटेशन होती है. So these factual things are important for your prelims. You have to note it down. ये सारी चीजें आपको नोट डाउन करनी है, अपने नोट्स के अंदर बनाइए ये, ठीक है ना. So we'll move to the next part now. आगे चलते हैं, क्या लेके आई है आपकी अखबार. Okay, so here we have this news. Gyanvi Mathura case hearing today. Okay, so this is what they are going to look into, whether it will be allowed or not. अब बात ये है, पहले जहाँ राम जन्मभूमि की बात आ रही थी, फिर कृष्ण जन्मभूमि की बात आ रही है. ओके, in all totality if you see preliminary जो समझ में आता है, there are 27 structures which are disputed. okay, तो 27 ऐसे mosque हैं जो disputed हैं आज की डेट में. now are we going to change the nature of them? That's the fundamental question we have to look into. कोर्ट किस मामले में इंटरवीन कर सकता है, ये कोर्ट को डिसाइड करना है. ओके, हर मामले में कोर्ट इंटरवेंशन इज नॉट डिजायरेबल. दैट्स द पॉइंट हियर. Now we'll move to the next part. 3 militant policemen killed. Okay, woman shot dead in Belgaum militant attack. Now she was active on social media. See, this is what your policies have, your forces have to stop. Because if this type of events are taking place, okay, it sends a message that your government is not capable of defending the people, कि जनता को बचाने का काम गवर्नमेंट नहीं कर सकती है. एंड इफ दिस इज द मैसेज पीपल आर गेटिंग, दे विल नॉट सपोर्ट द गवर्नमेंट, दे विल नॉट सपोर्ट द गवर्नमेंट, क्योंकि डर सबको लगता है, ठीक है ना, डर सबको लगता है. दैट्स द पॉइंट हियर. सो दिस इज रियली वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. आफ्टर दैट देयर इज नथिंग मच. ओके, so protesters clash with police, market stays shut in Srinagar. I already told you about this thing, that this person, he was commanding a big support. okay, so यासिर मलिक की सपोर्ट ठीक ठाक है, और आप देखिए यहाँ पे प्रोटेस्ट जो है वो शुरू हो गए हैं. बट इट विल बी अ फेज. डेफिनेटली द रूल ऑफ लॉ शुड प्रिवेल. अगर कुछ गलत किया है तो कानून तो आपको भुगतना ही पड़ेगा, ठीक है ना. आई एम सेइंग दैट यू हैव टू फॉलो द रूल ऑफ लॉ. So there is nothing wrong in that. कुछ wrong नजर नहीं आ रहा है यहाँ पे, ठीक है जी. 78% students found remote learning burdensome. Okay, so they may be facing the problem, they may not have the gadgets. उनके पास gadgets नहीं होंगे, equipment नहीं होगा, mobile नहीं होगा, so they may be facing this problem. Okay, other thing is that language barrier is also there. Okay, language in the sense that right face to face interaction is missing. फेस टू फेस इंटरेक्शन जो है वो नहीं होगा यहाँ पे, ठीक है ना. तो वो चीज़ हमें ज़रूर यहाँ पे सुधारनी है. ओके, वो चीज़ हमें ज़रूर यहाँ पे सुधारनी है. सो ऑल दीज थिंग्स आर देयर एंड फ्रेम पॉलिसीज टू प्रोटेक्ट द LGBTQ वर्कर्स. दिस इज व्हाट ILO इज सेइंग. ओके, सो they are saying that we need to protest, we need to have some legal arrangements for the workers which are working in different environment. I am saying this, society के अंदर change जब तक नहीं आता है, till the time the law will become ineffective. So you have to make sure that along with the legal arrangement, जो भी rules norms बना रहे हो, आपको अवेयरनेस भी क्रिएट करना पड़ेगा. यू हैव टू क्रिएट अवेयरनेस अमंग सोसाइटी थ्रू एजुकेशन. ओके, दैट देर इज नथिंग रॉन्ग इन दिस. ठीक है ना, तो ये समझाना बहुत जरूरी है. इफ वी आर नॉट डूइंग दैट, डेफिनेटली द फाइट फॉर देम, फाइट फॉर द LGBTQ कम्युनिटी इज रियली वेरी टफ. सोसाइटी चेंज आने में थोड़ा टाइम लगता है, इतना आसान नहीं होता है. ओके, दैट्स द पॉइंट हियर. There is another development, Supreme Court recognizing sex work as a profession. Okay, see what does this recognition is going to bring. The point is this recognition will entitle the sex workers फॉर द प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ लॉ. ठीक है ना, प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ लॉ के केस में कुछ जो है यहाँ पे उनको प्रोटेक्शन मिलता है, बिकॉज हेयर द कंसेंट इज ऑल्सो देयर, एज इज ऑल्सो देयर. ओके, इट इज अंडर देयर राइट टू, यू कैन से लाइफ एंड लिबर्टीज, आर्टिकल 21 उसका पार्ट है ये. वट एवर दे आर डूइंग इज जस्ट rightful. That's the point here. And Supreme Court is exercising its power under Article 142, which talks about justice. Okay, और यहाँ पे यही justice है, यहाँ पे यही justice है. ठीक है ना. So this is the point that you have to understand, and that's why they recognize this as a profession. Now sex workers, they will also get, you can say, the benefits of the government schemes that are there. उनका benefit भी उनको मिलेगा. Okay, normally we have seen sex workers are also victims, majorly violence के victims भी like होते हैं काफी. So they will also be getting some protection in from the law. कुछ कानूनी रूप से प्रोटेक्शन उनको मिलेगी. ठीक है ना. सो WHO seeks India help to test monkeypox cases. Okay, so only India has the capacity to produce, you can say, equipment to produce, not equipment, primarily to produce the vaccines which are there. So I already told you this thing that smallpox vaccine countries are not manufacturing. तो India आज की डेट में वो सप्लाई दे सकता है. Okay, so this is what the whole picture is. This is what the whole picture is. So I already told you this, that even the US president is saying that we have to act after the Texas school shooting. कुछ ना कुछ करना पड़ेगा यहाँ पे. You cannot, go ahead with the same things. After year, you can see, you will come across an incident in United States where people are losing life in this violence. Okay, ये गन से फायरिंग के अंदर लोग मर रहे हैं, तो ऐसी चीज नहीं होनी चाहिए. Other than that, there is nothing much, कुछ खास नहीं है यहाँ पे. Okay, cement is next target in war against inflation. So they are trying to rationalize the GST rates. जो GST के rates है सीमेंट के ऊपर, उसको भी वो कर रहे हैं. So all these things are being arranged by the government. Okay, so this is what we have here in this particular session. So that's it for the day then. Thank you very much.